There's a moment in every winner's life that changes everything. It's not loud, it's not celebrated. It happens in silence, in the space between excuses and execution, when a single thought cuts through the noise. Enough. Most people never reach that moment. They wake up each day already negotiating with their potential. They make deals with their doubts, they trade their focus for distractions, and while their dreams whisper quietly in the background, their attention is held hostage by the world's noise. But a rare few, the true winners, live differently. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They don't ask for permission. They don't wonder if they're ready. They make one decision, and that decision changes the entire trajectory of their lives. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not who they know. It's one habit, a mental discipline so powerful, so consistent, that it silently elevates them above everyone else. Winners understand something most people don't. Change doesn't happen when conditions improve. It happens when identity shifts. When you stop waiting to become the person who wins and start acting like them now. When your habits are no longer negotiable. When focus becomes your natural state, not your forced effort. This audiobook is about that habit, not a trick, not a hack, a way of being. Throughout these lessons, you'll uncover how to awaken the switch inside you, the switch that separates those who try from those who transform. You'll learn how to control your focus like a weapon, guard your mental space like treasure, and build anchors so strong that distractions no longer move you. You'll stop making deals with your weakness. You'll learn to command your state on cue. You'll rise in the quiet hours when no one's watching, and day by day, you'll repeat the habit until it's no longer what you do, but who you are. This is your moment. The world is noisy, but somewhere beneath that noise your power is waiting. It's time to awaken it. 1. Decide to win before you begin. The moment you truly decide to win, the universe rearranges itself to match your commitment. This isn't wishful thinking or motivational fluff. It's the fundamental law that separates those who achieve from those who merely attempt. Most people think winning begins with action, but they have it backwards. Winners know that victory is claimed in the invisible realm of decision long before it appears in the physical world. They understand that everything you see around you, every building, every invention, every masterpiece, was first a decision someone made in their mind. The decision came first, the results followed. Yet here's where most people stumble. They mistake a wish for a decision. They say they want to win, but they haven't actually decided to win. A wish is weak, wavering, filled with doubt and exit strategies. A decision is steel. It's final. It's non-negotiable. When you truly decide, you don't hope for success. You expect it. You don't plan for failure. You refuse to entertain it. Think about the difference in your own life. Remember a time when you merely wanted something versus a time when you decided you would have it? Feel the difference in your body, in your mind, in your energy. When you wanted something, there was hesitation, uncertainty, a readiness to quit when things got difficult. But when you decided, really decided, there was no question, there was only the inevitable unfolding of what you had already claimed as yours. This is the secret that winners guard closely, often without even realizing they possess it. They have mastered the art of internal commitment. They understand that the battle is won or lost in the mind before it ever reaches the battlefield of action. While others are still debating whether they can succeed, winners have already settled the matter internally. They've made their choice, and that choice becomes their North Star, guiding every subsequent thought, feeling, and action. When you decide to win before you begin, something profound shifts in your being. Your nervous system aligns with your decision. Your subconscious mind begins working around the clock to make your decision reality. Your perception changes. You start noticing opportunities that were always there but invisible to your uncommitted eyes. Your energy transforms. Instead of the scattered, anxious energy of someone hoping for success, you radiate the calm confidence of someone who knows their outcome is inevitable. This internal commitment creates what appears to be magic to outside observers. Doors open. The right people appear. Resources dissolve or reveal themselves as stepping stones. Critics call it luck, but you know better. You know that your unwavering internal decision created a magnetic pull that drew everything you needed into your orbit. But here's what you must understand. A true decision requires sacrifice. When you decide to win, you automatically decide not to lose. When you commit to excellence, you refuse to accept mediocrity. When you choose your highest path, you turn your back on lesser options. This isn't loss. It's focus. It's the pruning that allows your life to grow in the direction of your deepest desires. The moment you make a real decision, you'll feel it in your bones. There will be a settling, a sense of relief, as if you've finally stopped fighting a war you were never meant to fight. The war between wanting and having, between dreaming and being, between hoping and knowing. When you decide, the war ends. You've chosen your side, and that side is victory. Your past doesn't matter in this moment of decision. Your circumstances don't dictate your choice. Your fears don't get a vote. You are the sole authority over your internal commitment, and that commitment is the foundation upon which everything else in your life will be built. Make it strong, make it unwavering, make it worthy of the success that will inevitably follow. From this day forward, approach every goal, every challenge, every opportunity with this level of internal commitment. Don't simply hope you'll succeed. Decide you will. Don't wonder if you're capable. Know that you are. Don't prepare for the possibility of failure. Prepare only for the certainty of victory. The winners in every field, in every era, in every endeavor, all share this one fundamental trait. They decided to win before they began. They claimed their victory in the invisible realm of commitment before it ever appeared in the visible world of results. This is your invitation to join their ranks. This is your moment to step into the power that has always been yours. Decide to win. Decide it now. Decide it completely. Let this decision burn away doubt, fear, and hesitation. Let it become the foundation of everything you think, feel, and do. The universe is waiting for your commitment. Your success is waiting for your decision. The only question remaining is, are you ready to claim what has always been yours? 2. Command your environment. Your surroundings are either silently sabotaging you or secretly supporting your victory. Most people live at the mercy of whatever chaos surrounds them, but winners understand a profound truth. You don't just exist in your environment, you create it, and it creates you. Look around you right now. What do you see? Is your space whispering success or screaming struggle? Are your tools within reach or buried under clutter? Does your environment make your goals feel inevitable or impossible? The answer reveals everything about why you're winning or why you're not. Your environment is your silent partner in every endeavor. It's working for you or against you every single moment, and it never takes a day off. When your space supports your vision, every glance reinforces your commitment. When it contradicts your goals, every moment chips away at your resolve. The winners know this secret. They don't just hope their environment will cooperate. They command it. Think about the most successful people you know. Walk into their homes, their offices, their cars. What do you notice? Everything has intention. Nothing is random. Their books are visible and accessible. Their tools are organized and ready. Their space breathes focus and purpose. This isn't coincidence. It's design. They've arranged their world to pull them toward their dreams instead of pushing them toward mediocrity. Your environment speaks to you constantly in a language deeper than words. It communicates through sight, through feeling, through the subtle energy that flows through organized space versus chaotic clutter. When you walk into a clean, purposeful room, something shifts inside you. Your shoulders shrug, your mind clears. The opposite happens. Your energy scatters. Your focus fractures. Your dreams feel distant. The tragedy is that most people have surrendered this power without even realizing it. They live in spaces that reflect their problems instead of their potential. They keep their goals hidden in drawers while their distractions sit on display. They wonder why they can't stay motivated while surrounded by reminders of everything except what they want to achieve. But you're not most people. You're ready to take control of the invisible forces shaping your daily experience. You're ready to transform your environment from a source of resistance into a source of momentum. You're ready to design a space that doesn't just house your dreams, it nurtures them, protects them, and brings them to life. Start with what you see first and last every day. When you open your eyes in the morning, what greets you? When you close them at night, what's the final message your environment sends? These moments matter more than you realize. They set the tone for everything that follows. Make sure that tone aligns with the person you're becoming, not the person you're leaving behind. Remove everything that contradicts your new identity. If you're committed to health, why are there snacks calling your name from the counter? If you're building a business, why is your workspace cluttered with yesterday's unfinished tasks? If you're developing a skill, why are your practice materials buried where you can't see them? Your environment should make your good choices easier and your bad choices harder, not the other way around. Place visual reminders of your commitment where you can't ignore them. This isn't about motivation posters or empty inspiration. It's about strategic triggers that keep your deepest intentions alive in your daily awareness. The book that changes everything should be on your nightstand, not your shelf. The tools that build your future should be within arm's reach, not buried in closets. The symbols of your vision should surround you like a gentle, constant reminder of who you're becoming. Create friction for the behaviors you want to eliminate and remove friction from the behaviors you want to embrace. Make your phone harder to reach when you need to focus. Make your running shoes easier to find when you need to move. Make healthy food more visible and processed food less accessible. Make your creative tools ready and your distractions distant. Your environment should guide you toward success with the same inevitability that a river guides water toward the sea. Design your space to broadcast your seriousness, not just to others, but to the deepest parts of yourself. When everything around you reflects your commitment, something profound happens inside you. Your unconscious mind begins to believe what your environment declares. Your energy aligns with your intensity. Your actions flow naturally from the identity your surroundings reinforce. The universe responds to the signals you send, and your environment is one of the most powerful signals you broadcast. When your space reflects scattered attention, you attract scattered results. When your space reflects focused intention, you attract focused opportunities. When your space reflects your highest vision of yourself, you begin to embody that vision with increasing consistency and power. This isn't about perfection or expensive furniture or magazine-worthy aesthetics. This is about intention and alignment, and the courage to make your environment serve your evolution instead of your comfort. It's about understanding that the winners in every field have learned to make their surroundings work as hard for their success as they do. Your environment is listening to you right now, waiting for your command. It's ready to reflect your commitment back to you 1,000 times a day. It's ready to remind you of your power when you forget, to pull you back to your path when you wander, to whisper your potential when doubt creeps in. But first, you must give it clear instructions. You must arrange it with intention. You must command it to serve the person you're becoming instead of the person you've been. The moment you take control of your environment is the moment you take control of your destiny. Because winners don't just adapt to their surroundings, they shape them, they command them, and they use them to create the inevitable momentum that carries them toward everything they've decided to become. 3. Train your focus like a laser. Your attention is the most valuable currency you possess, yet most people scatter it like loose change in a windstorm. The difference between winners and everyone else isn't talent, luck, or connections. It's the ability to focus with surgical precision on what truly moves the needle. Right now, your mind is being pulled in 1,000 directions. Every buzz, notification, and fleeting thought fragments your mental energy into useless pieces. You start one task, get distracted by another, then wonder why your days feel exhausting but unproductive. It isn't a character flaw. It's the predictable result of an unfocused mind trying to do everything at once. The modern world profits from your scattered attention. Every app, advertisement, and interruption is designed to steal your focus and sell it to the highest bidder. But here's what they don't want you to realize. The moment you reclaim your attention and direct it with intention, you become unstoppable. Your focus becomes your superpower, your competitive edge, your secret weapon in a world full of distracted people. Winners understand that focus isn't just about concentration, it's about the ruthless elimination of everything that doesn't serve their highest goal. They don't just pay attention, they invest their attention like precious capital, knowing that where focus goes, energy flows, and results follow. Think of your focus like a laser beam. A regular light bulb spreads its energy in all directions, illuminating everything weakly. But concentrate that same energy into a focused beam, and it can cut through steel. Your mind works the same way. Scattered attention creates scattered results. The first step in training laser focus is recognizing that your attention is under constant attack. Every day, forces beyond your control attempt to hijack your mental energy. Some are obvious, the constant stream of messages, calls, and digital noise. Others are subtle, the mental chatter, the worry about tomorrow, the replay of yesterday's events. Winners don't just resist these distractions, they create systems to eliminate them entirely. Start by declaring war on interruption. Choose one important task, the single most important thing you need to accomplish today. Before you begin, remove every possible distraction from your environment. Turn off the notifications, close the unnecessary programs, clear your workspace of everything except what you need for this one task. This isn't paranoia, it's preparation. You're preparing your environment to support your focus instead of sabotage it. Now comes the real work, training your mind to stay present with the task at hand. Your brain will resist this initially. It's been conditioned to jump from thought to thought, seeking novelty and stimulation. The moment you ask it to focus on one thing, it will offer you a menu of alternatives. This is normal. This is expected. This is where winners separate themselves from everyone else. When your mind wanders, and it will, judge it or fight it. Simply notice the wandering, acknowledge it like a passing cloud, and gently bring your attention back to your chosen task. This isn't a failure, it's a repetition. Each time you redirect your attention, you're strengthening your focus muscle. Like physical exercise, the resistance is where the growth happens. The quality of your focus matters more than the quantity of time you spend. 30 minutes of deep, uninterrupted focus will produce more results than 3 hours of scattered, distracted effort. Winners understand this principle and structure their days accordingly. They don't try to maintain peak focus for 8 straight hours. Instead, they identify their peak focus windows and protect them fiercely. Pay attention to your natural rhythms. Notice when your mind feels sharp and alert, and when it feels foggy and scattered. Everyone has different peak performance windows. Some people think clearest in the early morning, others late at night. The key is to identify your prime time and schedule your most important work during these windows. During your focus sessions, embrace the concept of single tasking. This means doing one thing at a time with complete presence and attention. Not one thing while checking messages, not one thing while thinking about the next thing. One thing, fully engaged with your complete mental resources devoted to excellence in that moment. Here's a truth that will revolutionize your relationship with focus. The depth of your attention determines the quality of your results. Surface-level attention produces surface-level outcomes, but when you learn to dive deep, to immerse yourself completely in the task before you, you tap into a level of performance that most people never experience. This deep focus isn't just about productivity. It's about presence. It's about showing up fully for your own life instead of living on the surface of distraction. When you train your focus like a laser, you begin to experience a profound sense of flow and fulfillment. Time seems to slow down. Effort feels effortless. The most successful people in any field share this common trait. They can focus deeply for extended periods while others are checking their phones and seeking the next distraction. They understand that in a world of infinite distractions, the person who can focus wins by default. But here's the deeper truth. Focused attention isn't just about getting more done. It's about becoming more of who you're meant to be. When you train your focus like a laser, you're not just improving your productivity, you're developing your capacity to direct your life energy toward your highest aspirations. You're building the mental discipline that transforms dreams into reality. Every moment you choose focus over distraction, you're voting for the person you're becoming. Every time you resist the urge to scatter your attention, you're building the inner strength that separates winners from everyone else. Your focus isn't just a tool, it's a declaration of who you are and what you stand for. The world will always offer you distractions. It will always try to scatter your attention and dilute your power. But you have a choice. You can surrender your mental energy to the chaos around you, or you can train your focus like a laser and cut through the noise toward what truly matters. Choose focus. Choose depth. Choose the path of the winner. Your future self is counting on the choice you make right now. 4. Measure what matters. The moment you stop measuring is the moment you start lying to yourself about where you really stand. Most people live in a fog of good intentions and hopeful thinking. They chase dreams without data, pursue goals without gauges, and wonder why their efforts dissolve into nothing but frustration and false starts. They mistake motion for progress, confuse activity with achievement, and let weeks turn into months without ever knowing if they're moving closer to their target or drifting further away. But winners operate differently. They understand that what gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed gets mastered. They don't trust their feelings to tell them how they're doing, because feelings lie, emotions fluctuate, and moods shift like weather. Instead, they anchor their progress to concrete numbers that can't be negotiated, manipulated, or wished away. It isn't about drowning yourself in endless spreadsheets or becoming obsessed with every meaningless metric that crosses your path. This is about identifying the few vital measurements that actually move the needle, then watching them like a hawk watches its prey. Because when you measure what truly matters, something magical happens. Your focus sharpens, your actions align, your momentum becomes visible, and your course corrections become immediate. Think about it this way. A pilot doesn't navigate by how the flight feels or whether the passengers seem happy. They navigate by instruments that tell them exactly where they are, how fast they're moving, and whether they're on course to reach their destination. The altitude gauge doesn't care about the pilot's mood. The fuel indicator doesn't fluctuate based on optimism. These measurements provide cold, hard truth that keeps everyone alive and ensures they arrive where they intended to go. Your life needs the same kind of precision. You need instruments that cut through the noise of daily distractions and show you the reality of your progress. You need numbers that hold you accountable when motivation fades and enthusiasm wanes. You need feedback that's so clear and immediate that you can't fool yourself about whether you're winning or losing. The secret lies in understanding the difference between lag measures and lead measures. Most people focus on lag measures, the end results that happen after all the work is done. They obsess over the weight on the scale, the money in their bank account, or the recognition they receive from others. But lag measures are like looking in the rearview mirror. They tell you where you've been, not where you're going. Winners focus on lead measures, the daily inputs that create the outcomes they want. They track the actions they can control, the behaviors they can repeat, and the disciplines they can strengthen. They measure the number of pages written, not just the books published. They count the workouts completed, not just the pounds lost. They monitor the calls made, not just the sales closed. When you shift your attention to lead measures, you gain something priceless: immediate control over your results. You stop waiting for external validation to tell you if you're succeeding. You stop depending on other people's reactions to gauge your progress. You start building confidence from your own consistency, creating momentum from your own actions, and generating proof of your commitment through your own daily choices. But measuring what matters goes deeper than just tracking numbers. It's about creating a feedback loop that keeps you honest about your priorities. When you measure something, you're forced to confront whether you actually care about it as much as you claim. If you say fitness is important but never track your workouts, your measurements reveal the truth about your priorities. If you declare that learning matters but never monitor your study time, your data exposes the gap between your words and your actions. This honest confrontation with reality is uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. Because once you see clearly where you stand, you can make clear decisions about where to go. You can stop pretending that hoping is the same as planning. You can quit confusing wishful thinking with strategic thinking. You can begin aligning your daily actions with your declared priorities in ways that actually produce results. The winners in any field have learned to love this process of measurement because they understand that numbers don't judge, they just inform. When a measurement reveals that you're falling short, it's not a punishment, it's a gift. It's feedback that allows you to adjust before you've wasted months or years heading in the wrong direction. It's information that empowers you to change course while you still have time to reach your destination. Start by choosing no more than 3 measurements that directly connect to your most important goal. If you're building a business, you might track the number of prospects contacted, meetings scheduled, and follow-ups completed. If you're developing a skill, you might measure practice time, techniques attempted, and feedback sessions completed. If you're improving your health, you might monitor workouts finished, meals planned, and sleep hours achieved. Make these measurements simple enough to track daily, but meaningful enough to drive real progress. Write them down every single day, not just when you remember or when the numbers look good. Create a visual record that you can't ignore, a scorecard that holds you accountable even when no one else is watching. Watch what happens when you commit to this discipline. Your awareness expands, your focus intensifies, your actions become more intentional because you know they're being recorded. You start making better choices because you know those choices will show up in your measurements. You begin holding yourself to a higher standard. This is how winners separate themselves from everyone else. They refuse to operate in the dark. They refuse to guess about their progress. They create systems of measurement that illuminate their path, accelerate their growth, and ensure their efforts compound into extraordinary results. They measure what matters, and they let those measurements guide them toward the victories they've already decided to claim. 5. Own your daily rhythm. Your life is not a series of random moments strung together by chance. It is a symphony waiting to be conducted by your conscious design. Most people surrender their days to chaos, reacting to whatever demands the loudest attention, wondering why their dreams remain distant and their progress feels sluggish. They wake without intention, move without direction, and collapse into bed exhausted yet unfulfilled. They mistake being busy for being productive, confusing motion with progress. But winners understand a fundamental truth that separates them from the masses. Your daily rhythm is your destiny in disguise. Every single day, you are either building the life you want or allowing it to slip further away. There is no neutral ground. Every morning presents you with the same choice. Will you be the architect of your hours, or will you hand over the blueprint to circumstance and hope for the best? Winners choose to be architects. They understand that extraordinary results are not born from extraordinary moments, but from extraordinary consistency in ordinary moments. Your daily rhythm is not about rigid schedules or joyless discipline. It is about recognizing the natural flow of your energy, the windows when your mind is sharpest, your creativity highest, your willpower strongest. It is about designing a framework that supports your highest self rather than fighting against your natural patterns. When you align your most important work with your peak energy windows, you do not just get more done. You get the right things done with a quality and intensity that compounds into unstoppable momentum. Think about the people who inspire you, those who seem to effortlessly produce remarkable results. Look closer, and you will discover they are not superhuman. They have simply mastered the art of designing their days around what matters most. They have identified their prime hours and protected them like sacred ground. They have created rituals and routines that eliminate decision fatigue and automate their path to excellence. They understand that willpower is finite, but systems are infinite. The morning hours hold a special power that most people squander. In those quiet moments before the world awakens, before the demands and distractions begin their assault, you have access to your clearest thinking, your strongest resolve, your most creative insight. This is not about becoming a morning person if you are naturally inclined toward evening energy. This is about recognizing that the first hours of your consciousness, regardless of when they occur, set the tone for everything that follows. When you begin your day with intention rather than reaction, when you feed your mind with inspiration rather than information, when you move your body before the world moves you, you are not just preparing for the day, you are declaring your commitment to excellence. You are telling the universe that you are serious about your transformation, that you refuse to leave your success. Your peak performance windows are not the same as everyone else's. and discovering them requires honest self-observation. Some people think with crystal clarity in the early morning hours, while others find their creative genius emerges late at night. Some experience their highest energy after physical movement, while others need stillness and reflection to access their best thinking. There is no universal formula, but there is a personal rhythm waiting to be discovered and honored. The key is to become a student of your own patterns. Notice when your mind feels sharpest, when complex problems seem to solve themselves, when your focus feels effortless and sustained. These are your golden hours, and they deserve to be treated with reverence. Schedule your most important work during these windows. Protect them from meetings, interruptions, and low-value activities. Let the rest of the world handle routine tasks during your peak hours. You have bigger fish to catch. Creating anchors throughout your day provides structure without rigidity. These are non-negotiable touchpoints that keep you tethered to your highest intentions, regardless of what chaos might swirl around you. It might be 10 minutes of quiet reflection at dawn, a midday walk to reset your energy, or an evening ritual to process the day and prepare for tomorrow. These anchors become the pillars that support your success architecture, ensuring that even on the most challenging days, you remain connected to what matters most. The space between your anchors should flow naturally, allowing for creativity and spontaneity while maintaining forward momentum toward your goals. This is where the magic happens, when structure meets flexibility, when preparation meets opportunity, when your designed rhythm creates the conditions for breakthrough moments to emerge. Most people underestimate the compound effect of small, consistent actions embedded within their daily rhythm. They search for grand gestures and dramatic transformations while overlooking the profound power of steady, purposeful repetition. But winners understand that excellence is not an event, it is a habit. Every day you honor your designed rhythm, you are making a deposit in the bank of your future. Every day you abandon it for the tyranny of the urgent, you are withdrawing from that same account. Your daily rhythm should feel like coming home to yourself, not like a prison of rigid rules. It should energize rather than exhaust, clarify rather than complicate, simplify rather than overwhelm. When you find the right rhythm, you will know it, because your days will begin to flow with a natural momentum that carries you toward your goals with less effort and more joy. The external world will constantly attempt to disrupt your rhythm with its demands, emergencies, and distractions. This is not personal. It is simply the nature of a world full of people who have not learned to design their own days. Your commitment to your rhythm is your declaration of independence from the chaos of other people's poor planning and misplaced priorities. It is your way of saying that your dreams matter, that your goals deserve protection, that when you own your daily rhythm, you own your life. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the author of your story. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop hoping for success and start building it, one purposeful day at a time. Your rhythm becomes your secret weapon, your competitive advantage, your pathway to the extraordinary life that is waiting for you to claim it. 6. Guard your energy like treasure. Your energy is not unlimited, and the moment you treat it as if it were, you become ordinary. Most people scatter their life force like coins thrown carelessly into a crowd. They give their attention to every distraction, their emotional investment to every drama, their physical vitality to every demand that presents itself. Then they wonder why they feel depleted, why their dreams remain distant, why their potential never fully materializes. They have confused being busy with being powerful, confused being available with being valuable. Winners understand a fundamental truth that separates them from the masses. Energy is the currency of achievement. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every action you take draws from the same finite well. When that well runs dry, your focus weakens, your decisions deteriorate, and your ability to persist through challenges crumbles. But when you guard that energy like the precious resource it is, when you invest it strategically and protect it fiercely, you become unstoppable. Think of your energy as a treasure that everyone wants to steal. Your phone buzzes with notifications designed to capture your mental energy. People around you create emergencies that demand your emotional energy. Your environment conspires to drain your physical energy through poor lighting, uncomfortable temperatures, and chaos that forces your nervous system to work overtime. Society has normalized exhaustion, celebrated burnout, and made heroes of those who sacrifice their vitality for productivity. But this is not the path of winners. Winners are selfish with their energy, and they make no apologies for it. They understand that every yes to one thing is a no to something else, and they choose their yeses with the precision of a master strategist. They say no to late nights that steal their recovery. They say no to toxic people who drain their emotional reserves. They say no to activities that give them nothing in return. This is not selfishness. This is self-respect. This is not withdrawal. This is investment in their highest potential. Your physical energy is the foundation upon which everything else is built. When your body is weak, your mind follows. When your nervous system is frayed, your emotions become volatile. When your sleep is compromised, your judgment fails. Winners treat their physical energy like a sacred trust. They understand that the quality of their sleep determines the quality of their thoughts the next day. They know that what they put into their body becomes the fuel for their dreams. They recognize that movement is not just about fitness. It is about maintaining the vitality that makes excellence possible. Sleep is not rest, it is preparation. Every hour of quality sleep is an investment in tomorrow's performance. Winners create sanctuaries for their sleep, environments that signal to their nervous system that it is safe to restore and rebuild. They guard their evening hours, refusing to let the chaos of the day contaminate the peace they need to recharge. They understand that staying up late is not a badge of honor. It is a withdrawal from tomorrow's potential. What you consume becomes who you are. Every bite of food either fuels your energy or steals it. Every sip you take either clarifies your thinking or clouds it. Winners are conscious of this exchange. They do not eat for entertainment or comfort, they eat for power. They choose foods that sustain their energy rather than foods that spike and crash it. They hydrate their bodies like gardeners watering prize-winning plants. They understand that their physical vessel is the vehicle for their dreams, and they treat it accordingly. Movement is medicine for the soul. When you move your body, you move energy through your system. You clear stagnation, you build resilience, you remind yourself that you are powerful. Winners do not exercise, they energize. They use movement to prepare their bodies for the demands of their goals. They understand that physical strength creates mental strength, that cardiovascular health supports emotional stability, that flexibility in the body creates flexibility in thinking. Your mental energy is even more precious than your physical energy, because it determines what you focus on and for how long. Every scattered thought, every mental tangent, every moment of distraction is energy that could have been invested in your priorities. Winners are ruthless about protecting their mental energy. They create boundaries around their thinking time. They eliminate information that does not serve their goals. They refuse to let their minds become dumping grounds for other people's problems, society's negativity, or media's manufactured crises. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They allow what serves you to enter while keeping out what depletes you. Winners set boundaries around their time, their attention, their emotional investment. They do not answer every call, respond to every message, or attend every gathering. They understand that their presence is valuable and they do not give it away carelessly. They create space for deep work, for quiet reflection, for the kind of sustained focus that creates breakthroughs. Your emotional energy is the fuel for your passion and the source of your resilience. When you allow every person and situation to dictate your emotional state, you become powerless. Winners understand that their emotional energy is their choice to direct. They do not let other people's moods determine their own. They do not absorb the anxiety, anger, or negativity that surrounds them. They create emotional boundaries that allow them to remain centered in the storm, peaceful in the chaos, optimistic in the face of challenges. Recovery is not laziness, it is strategy. Winners build recovery into their rhythms because they understand that sustained excellence requires periods of restoration. They take breaks before they need them. They rest before they are exhausted. They create space for their energy to rebuild so they can show up fully when it matters most. They understand that the most productive thing you can sometimes do is nothing at all. Environment shapes energy more than most people realize. Winners design their spaces to support their energy rather than drain it. They eliminate clutter that creates mental noise. They optimize lighting that supports their natural rhythms. They surround themselves with beauty that inspires rather than drains. They understand that their external environment reflects and influences their internal state. The people you surround yourself with either energize you or deplete you. There is no neutral. Winners are selective about their associations because they understand that energy is contagious. They spend time with people who elevate their thinking, support their goals, and challenge them to grow. They limit their exposure to people who complain constantly, create drama, or demand emotional energy without giving anything in return. When you guard your energy like treasure, something magical happens. Your focus becomes sharper because you are not scattered. Your endurance increases because you are not depleted. Your decision-making improves because your mind is clear. Your emotional stability strengthens because you are not reactive. Your physical presence becomes more powerful because you are not running on empty. This is how winners create the capacity for sustained excellence. They do not try to do more with less energy. They protect their energy so they can do more with more. They understand that energy management is not about restriction. It is about optimization. It is not about doing less. It is about doing what matters most, with full power behind it. Your energy is your life force, your creative power, your ability to make dreams reality. Guard it like the treasure it is, invest it like the precious resource it represents, and watch as your capacity for achievement expands beyond what you thought possible. 7. Show up when no one's watching. The person you become in the silence of your own company is the person who shows up when the lights are bright and the stakes are high. Most people live for applause. They save their best effort for moments when others are watching, when recognition is guaranteed, when praise feels certain. They perform when cameras roll, when bosses observe, when crowds gather. But champions understand a deeper truth. The real work happens in the quiet hours, in empty rooms, when no witness exists except your own character. Winners don't need an audience to be excellent. They show up with the same intensity at 5 in the morning as they do at the championship final. They practice with the same precision in their basement as they would on the world stage. They hold themselves to the same standard whether 10,000 people are watching or no one at all. This is where ordinary people reveal their true nature. When the external pressure disappears, when the motivation fades, when no reward seems immediate, they relax their grip. They tell themselves that effort without recognition doesn't count. They save their energy for moments that feel important, moments that promise immediate feedback or validation. But you are not ordinary people. You understand that character is built in the shadows, that strength is forged in solitude, that mastery emerges from countless invisible hours of deliberate practice. You know that the person who can maintain excellence when no one is looking is the person who can access that excellence when everyone is looking. The habit that separates winners from everyone else thrives in these unseen moments. It doesn't need external validation to sustain itself. It doesn't require praise to continue growing. It feeds on internal commitment, on the quiet satisfaction of keeping promises to yourself, on the deep knowing that you are becoming who you were meant to be. Think about the greatest performers in any field. The musician who practices scales in an empty room at midnight. The athlete who runs extra laps when the coach has gone home. The writer who crafts sentences with care even when no editor will ever see the draft. These people understand that excellence is not a performance you turn on/off. Excellence is a way of being that remains constant regardless of who is present to witness it. Your private actions are votes for the person you are becoming. Every moment when you choose discipline over comfort, when you push through resistance that no one else will ever know about, when you maintain your standards in the face of zero external accountability, you are casting a vote for your highest self. You are building the internal foundation that will support whatever external success comes your way. The beautiful truth is that these private victories compound. Each time you show up fully when no one is watching, you strengthen your ability to show up fully when everyone is watching. You develop an unshakable core of self-trust. You prove to yourself that your commitment runs deeper than external circumstances, that your excellence comes from within rather than from outside pressure. This is how you become inevitable. When your best effort doesn't depend on an audience, when your standards don't fluctuate based on who might be paying attention, when your commitment to growth remains steady whether you are alone or surrounded by others, you become a force of nature. You develop the kind of consistency that makes success not just possible, but guaranteed. The world is full of people who can rise to big occasions. The world needs people who can create their own occasions, who can generate their own momentum, who can maintain their own fire without anyone else feeding the flames. When you become this person, when you develop the ability to be excellent in private, you join the ranks of those who seem to succeed effortlessly, those who appear to have some secret advantage. Your secret advantage is this: while others wait for the right moment, the right audience, the right recognition, you are already doing the work. While they are preparing to prepare, you are preparing. While they are looking for motivation, you are creating momentum. While they are seeking validation, you are building competence. The path to mastery is lined with invisible hours, unmarked by applause, unmeasured by external metrics. These hours test your true commitment. They reveal whether you love the process or just the results, whether you are driven by internal standards or external approval, whether you are building real strength or just putting on a show. Embrace these quiet moments. Cherish the opportunity to work without witnesses, to grow without fanfare, to improve without recognition. These moments are gifts. They allow you to discover who you really are when all pretense is stripped away. They teach you to find satisfaction in effort itself, in the simple act of showing up fully for your own development. When you master this habit, when you learn to be your best self in the solitude of your own company, something magical happens. Your internal standard becomes so strong, so consistent, so unwavering that it carries you through any external circumstance. You become someone who others can depend on because you have learned to depend on yourself. You become someone who delivers excellence not because you have to, but because you cannot help it. The winner inside you is waiting to emerge, not in the spotlight of public recognition, but in the quiet confidence of private discipline. Show up when no one is watching, and when everyone is watching, you will already be ready. 8. Silence excuses, amplify action. The moment you feel resistance rising in your chest, the moment doubt whispers its familiar lies, the moment your mind starts crafting the perfect reason to wait another day, that is precisely the moment winners take their first step. There exists a sacred space between the thought of doing something and the actual doing of it. In that space, two forces wage war for your future. One force speaks in the language of logic, reason, and careful planning. It sounds intelligent, even wise. It says things like, maybe tomorrow when conditions are better, or I should wait until I'm more prepared, or this isn't the right time. The other force speaks in a different language altogether. The language of movement, of momentum, of immediate action that cuts through every excuse like a blade through silk. Most people live their entire lives listening to the first voice. They become experts at crafting beautiful reasons why today isn't the day, why they need just a little more time, a little more knowledge, a little more certainty. They polish their excuses until they shine like truth itself. But winners have learned something that separates them from the crowd. They've discovered that the first voice is a liar, and the second voice is the only one that leads to victory. The truth about excuses is that they're not really about circumstances at all. They're about fear dressed up in reasonable clothing. When you say you don't have enough time, you're really saying you're afraid of what you might discover about yourself if you try. When you claim you need more preparation, you're really saying you're afraid of failing in front of others. When you insist the timing isn't right, you're really saying you're afraid of the discomfort that comes with growth. But here's what winners understand that others don't. Action is the antidote to fear. Not confidence, not certainty, not perfect conditions. Action. Pure, simple, immediate action. Because while everyone else is busy explaining why they can't, winners are busy proving that they can. While others are waiting for permission from the universe, winners are taking it. While others are preparing to prepare, winners are already moving. The magic happens in the first step. Not the second, not the third, not when you finally feel ready. The first step. Because the first step does something that no amount of thinking or planning can do. It transforms you from someone who talks about things into someone who does things. It shifts your identity in an instant. It sends a signal to every cell in your body and every force in the universe that you are not the kind of person who sits on the sidelines of their own life. Think about this carefully. Every excuse you've ever made was born in the gap between intention and action. Every dream that died was killed in that same space. Every opportunity you missed was lost there. But every victory you've ever achieved, every moment you felt truly alive, every time you've surprised yourself with what you're capable of, those moments were born when you closed that gap and moved. This is why winners have learned to love the first step, no matter how small, no matter how imperfect. They know that motion creates momentum, and momentum creates miracles. They understand that you cannot steer a parked car, but once you're moving, even slightly, the entire universe conspires to help you navigate toward your destination. They've learned that action doesn't just follow motivation, action creates motivation. When you take that first step, something profound happens in your mind. The same brain that was generating excuses suddenly starts generating solutions. The same energy that was focused on why something can't be done suddenly redirects itself toward figuring out how it can be done. The same imagination that was painting pictures of failure suddenly starts sketching blueprints for success. This is not positive thinking or wishful fantasy. This is the natural result of movement. Your excuses are not protecting you, they're imprisoning you. Every reason you give for not starting is another bar on the cage you're building around your own potential. Every delay you justify is another day stolen from the life you could be living. Every tomorrow you promise yourself is another step further from the person you're meant to become. Winners don't wait for the right mood to strike. They don't wait for inspiration to whisper sweet encouragements in their ear. They don't wait for fear to pack up and leave. They act while afraid. They move while uncertain. They begin while because they know that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the presence of fear. Confidence isn't the absence of doubt. It's movement despite doubt. Readiness isn't the absence of obstacles. It's the willingness to start climbing while the mountain is still there. The excuses that feel so real, so valid, so absolutely legitimate in your mind, they evaporate the moment you take action. That overwhelming project becomes a series of manageable tasks the moment you start the first one. That impossible goal becomes an achievable target the moment you take the first shot. That dream that seemed so far away becomes visible on the horizon the moment you take the first step toward it. This is the secret that winners protect fiercely and live by religiously. They have trained themselves to compress the time between idea and action, between decision and movement, between intention and execution. While others measure that gap in days, weeks, or months, winners measure it in seconds. They've developed the reflex of immediate action. They've built the muscle of instant execution. They've programmed themselves to move before the excuse-making machine in their mind can even warm up. But understand this. Silence your excuses doesn't mean you become reckless. It doesn't mean you abandon all planning or throw caution to the wind. It means you refuse to let perfect be the enemy of good. It means you choose imperfect action over perfect inaction. It means you trust that you'll figure it out as you go, that you'll learn what you need to learn when you need to learn it. The world is full of people with brilliant ideas who are still waiting for the right moment to act on them. The world is full of people with incredible potential who are still preparing to unleash it. The world is full of people with beautiful dreams who are still planning to pursue them. But the world belongs to the ones who move. It belongs to the ones who start. It belongs to the ones who trade their excuses for action and their reasons for result. Right now, as you absorb these words, there's something you know you should do, some call you should make, some project you should start, some habit you should begin, some dream you should chase. Your mind is already preparing its defense, already marshaling its reasons, already constructing its careful arguments for delay. But you have a choice. You can listen to that voice, or you can silence it with the most powerful sound in the universe, the sound of you taking the first step. Winners are not born with fewer fears or fewer doubts. They simply refuse to let those fears and doubts have the final word. They've learned that excuses are just thoughts, and thoughts can be ignored. They've discovered that reasons are just stories, and stories can be rewritten. They've realized that the only thing standing between them and everything they want is the decision to stop talking and start walking. This is your moment. This is your choice. This is your chance to join the ranks of those who do instead of those who dream, those who act instead of those who plan, those who move instead of those who wait. The excuse-making part of your mind is already preparing its response, already crafting its careful rebuttals. But the winning part of your mind, the part that knows what you're truly capable of, is calling you to action. Which voice will you choose to obey? 9. Lean into discomfort on purpose. Most people spend their entire lives running from the very thing that would set them free. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your invitation. It's the universe's way of saying you're ready for the next level, but you have to prove it first. Every winner understands this truth. Growth lives on the other side of what feels uncomfortable, uncertain, or challenging. While others retreat when things get difficult, champions lean forward. They don't just tolerate discomfort, they hunt it down deliberately. Think about every breakthrough moment in your life. Every time you expanded beyond who you were yesterday. Every skill you mastered, every fear you conquered, every goal you achieved that once seemed impossible, none of it happened in your comfort zone. All of it required you to step into unfamiliar territory, to feel the tension of not knowing, to push through the resistance that wanted to pull you back to what was safe and known. This is the difference between those who win and those who wonder why they don't. Winners have trained themselves to interpret discomfort differently. When their heart rate increases before a difficult conversation, they don't see anxiety, they see readiness. When a challenge appears that stretches their current abilities, they don't see a problem, they see an opportunity to prove they're ready for bigger things. When everyone else is retreating, they're advancing. The reason most people never reach their potential is simple. They mistake discomfort for danger. Their nervous system sounds the alarm at the first sign of uncertainty, and they obey it without question. They choose the familiar struggle over the unfamiliar growth. They stay in relationships that drain them because leaving feels too scary. They remain in jobs that bore them because starting something new feels too risky. They keep the same habits that produce the same results because changing feels too hard. But you're different. You understand that comfort is not your friend, it's your prison. The moment you get too comfortable, you stop growing. The moment you stop growing, you start dying. Not physically, but spiritually, mentally, you become a shadow of what you could be, haunted by the dreams you were too afraid to chase. Your comfort zone is not a place of safety, it's a place of slow surrender. Every day you stay there, you're choosing to remain smaller than you're meant to be. Every day you avoid discomfort, you're telling the universe you're not ready for what you've been asking for. Every day you pick the easy path, you're training yourself to be someone who quits when things get real. Winners refuse this trade. They understand that temporary discomfort is the price of permanent transformation. They know that the pain of discipline weighs ounces, while the pain of regret weighs tons. So they choose their pain, consciously, deliberately, strategically. This is what it means to lean into discomfort on purpose. It means you don't wait for challenges to find you. You go looking for them. You don't wait until you feel ready. You make yourself ready by doing the thing that scares you. You don't wait for permission. You give it to yourself and step forward anyway. Start seeking out the conversations that make your palms sweat. Those are the conversations that change everything. Begin pursuing the opportunities that feel slightly beyond your current abilities. Those are the opportunities that expand who you become. Embrace the projects that force you to learn new skills. Those are the projects that prepare you for the next level of success. When you feel that familiar tightness in your chest, that voice in your head saying, "This is too much," or "You're not ready," recognize it for what it is. The signal that you're exactly where you need to be. You're at the edge of your current self, about to become your next self. The discomfort isn't telling you to turn back, it's telling you to keep going. Every master was once a beginner who felt overwhelmed. Every champion was once someone who doubted their abilities. Every leader was once someone who felt unqualified. The difference is they didn't let the feeling decide their actions. They felt the fear and moved forward anyway. They felt unprepared and prepared themselves through action. They felt uncertain and chose to trust the process more than the feeling. The universe is always testing your commitment to growth. It presents you with situations that require you to be more than you've been before. These aren't obstacles. They're invitations. They're your chance to prove you're serious about becoming who you say you want to become. When you consistently choose growth over comfort, something magical happens. Your capacity expands. What once felt impossible starts feeling inevitable. Challenges that would have overwhelmed your old self become stepping stones for your new self. You develop what winners call discomfort tolerance, the ability to remain calm, focused, and effective even when everything inside you wants to retreat. This isn't about being reckless or seeking pain for its own sake. It's about recognizing that controlled discomfort is how you build strength, resilience, and capability. It's how you signal to yourself and the universe that you're ready for bigger opportunities, greater responsibilities, and more significant results. Every time you choose discomfort over convenience, you're voting for the person you're becoming rather than the person you've been. Every time you do what's hard instead of what's easy, you're building evidence that you're someone who follows through on their commitments. Every time you push through when you want to quit, you're proving that your vision is stronger than your feelings. The path to everything you want leads directly through everything you've been avoiding. The skills you need to develop, the conversations you need to have, the risks you need to take, the habits you need to build. They're all waiting for you on the other side of comfortable. Stop treating discomfort like an enemy and start treating it like a teacher. It's showing you exactly where your next breakthrough lives. It's pointing you toward the precise area where growth is trying to happen. It's revealing the exact skill you need to develop to handle the next level of success. This is your moment to rewrite your relationship with difficulty, to see challenges as gifts rather than punishment, to understand that the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you're prepared to handle. And you prepare yourself by consistently, deliberately, purposefully leaning into the discomfort that creates capacity. Your future self is calling you forward, but they can only meet you at the edge of your comfort zone. Step toward what scares you. Embrace what challenges you. Trust what's calling you. The discomfort you feel today is tomorrow's strength, confidence, and capability being born. 10. Close the loop every day. The moment you leave something unfinished, you teach your mind that completion is optional. Every day, you make dozens of silent promises to yourself. You'll finish that task, you'll complete that conversation, you'll clear that pile on your desk. And every time you leave something hanging, every time you walk away from what you started, you're not just leaving work undone. You're training yourself to accept incompletion as normal. You're programming your inner world to believe that following through is negotiable. Winners understand something that most people never grasp. Your relationship with completion determines your relationship with success itself. The person who finishes what they start builds a different kind of inner strength than the person who moves from task to task, leaving a trail of almost dones and half-efforts behind them. Completion isn't just about productivity. It's about integrity with yourself. It's about becoming the kind of person who honors their own commitments, especially the small ones that no one else will ever notice. Look around and you'll see the evidence everywhere. People start books they never finish. They begin projects that collect dust. They have conversations that end without resolution, relationships that drift without closure, dreams that remain forever in the planning stage. And with each incomplete loop, they reinforce a pattern of starting strong and finishing weak. They become comfortable with the space between intention and completion, between promise and fulfillment. But there's something profound that happens when you commit to closing every loop. When you make completion your default setting, you change the fundamental frequency of your life. You stop being someone who tries and become someone who does. You stop being someone who starts and become someone who finishes. And that shift, from starter to finisher, changes everything about how you show up in the world. The practice starts smaller than you think. It's not about tackling massive projects or life-changing goals. It's about honoring the tiny commitments you make throughout your day. When you say you'll make that phone call, you make it. When you decide to organize that drawer, you finish the job completely. When you start reading something, you read it to the end. When you begin a conversation that needs to be had, you see it through to resolution. Each completed loop sends a signal to your subconscious mind. It says, I am someone who follows through. I am someone who can be trusted to finish what I start. and your mind, always listening, always learning, begins to reorganize itself around this new identity. Your thoughts become more decisive because they're backed by a track record of completion. Your commitments carry more weight because they're supported by a history of follow-through. There's an energy that builds when you close loops consistently. Incomplete tasks drain you in ways you might not even realize. They sit in the back of your mind like programs running in the background, consuming mental resources even when you're not actively thinking about them. Every unfinished conversation, every half-done project, every promise you made to yourself that you haven't kept. They all create a subtle tension, a low-level stress that clouds your clarity and diminishes your power. But when you systematically complete what you start, you free up that energy. You stop carrying the invisible weight of 1,000 small incompletions. Your mind clears because it's not constantly tracking all the things you've left undone. Your confidence grows because it's built on a foundation of personal reliability. You begin to trust yourself in a deeper way because you have evidence, daily evidence. The magic isn't in the completion itself. The magic is in who you become through the practice of completion. Every finished task is a small victory that builds toward a larger truth about your character. Every closed loop is proof that you can be counted on, especially by yourself. And that self-trust, that quiet confidence that comes from knowing you'll follow through, becomes the foundation for everything else you want to create in your life. Winners don't have more hours in their day or fewer distractions in their world. They simply refuse to let things remain unfinished. When they start something, they've already made the commitment to see it through. They understand that the power isn't in the starting, it's in the completing. Anyone can begin. Champions finish. This practice extends far beyond tasks and projects. It's about bringing full completion to your experiences, your relationships, your communications. When you have something to say, you say it completely. When you make a commitment, you honor it fully. When you set an intention, you follow it through to its natural conclusion. You stop living in the gray area between started and finished, between attempted and accomplished. The world will offer you endless opportunities to leave things incomplete. There will always be distractions, interruptions, and reasons to move on to something new before finishing what you started. But your power lies in your willingness to resist that pull, to stay with what you've begun until it's truly complete. Not just mostly done, not just good enough. Complete. Make completion your signature. Let it be known that when you touch something, when you start something, when you commit to something, it gets finished. Build such a reputation with yourself that your own promises become sacred, your own commitments become unbreakable. When you decide to close the loop every day, you're not just improving your productivity, you're forging an identity that naturally attracts success, because success itself is nothing more than the completion of worthy goals, executed one finished task at a time. 11. Protect your standards like a fortress. The moment you lower your standards is the moment you begin your descent into mediocrity. Winners understand this fundamental truth. Your standards are the invisible walls that either protect your potential or allow it to leak away, drop by drop. Most people live their lives adjusting their standards based on how they feel, what others expect, or what seems convenient in the moment. They tell themselves they'll make an exception just this once, that tomorrow they'll get back on track, that circumstances justify compromise. But winners know something different. They know that standards are not suggestions to be negotiated with your moods or modified by your circumstances. Standards are the sacred boundaries that define who you are and who you're becoming. Your standards are the silent judges that evaluate every choice you make. They sit quietly in the background of your consciousness, measuring whether each action moves you toward excellence or away from it. When you honor them, they reward you with self-respect, momentum, and results. When you betray them, they withdraw their support, leaving you feeling hollow and disconnected from your power. Think about the most successful people you know or admire. Notice how they carry themselves, how they speak, how they treat their commitments. They operate from a different frequency because they've built their lives around non-negotiable principles that don't bend under pressure. Their standards aren't burdens they carry, but fortresses they've built to protect what matters most. The challenge is that your standards will be tested, Life will present you with situations designed to make you question whether your rules really matter. You'll be tired, stressed, overwhelmed, or tempted by easier paths. Others around you might be cutting corners, making excuses, or choosing comfort over excellence. In those moments, your standards will whisper to you, asking if you're serious about who you claim to be. This is where most people fail. They think standards are meant to be flexible, that being too rigid is unrealistic or unhealthy. They convince themselves that lowering their expectations is being kind to themselves, that perfectionism is the enemy of progress. But this thinking reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of what standards really are. Standards are not about perfection. They're about consistency. They're not about being hard on yourself. They're about being true to yourself. They're not limitations that restrict your life. They're foundations that support your growth. When you protect your standards like a fortress, you're declaring to yourself and to the universe that you take your life seriously. You're saying that your word matters, that your commitments are sacred, that your character is not for sale. This declaration creates a field of energy around you that attracts opportunities, respect. Your standards operate in every area of your life, whether you're conscious of them or not. They govern how you treat your body, how you manage your time, how you show up in relationships, how you handle your responsibilities, and how you respond to challenges. Each time you honor them, you strengthen your inner authority. Each time you compromise them, you weaken your connection to your own power. The fortress of standards is built one choice at a time. It's built when you keep your word, even when you don't feel like it. It's built when you maintain your habits, even when no one is watching. It's built when you choose quality over convenience, effort over ease, growth over comfort. Each choice becomes a stone in the wall that protects your potential from the forces that would erode it. Winners understand that their standards are their most valuable possessions because everything else in their lives flows from them. Their health flows from their standards around nutrition and exercise. Their relationships flow from their standards around communication and integrity. Their success flows from their standards around work and excellence. Their peace flows from their standards around boundaries and priorities. But protecting your standards requires vigilance, because the world is full of forces that would love to see you compromise. There's the voice of immediate gratification that whispers about how good it would feel to skip your routine just this once. There's the voice of comparison that points out how much easier everyone else seems to have it. There's the voice of fear that suggests your standards are too high, too demanding, too unrealistic for someone like you. These voices are not your enemies. They're tests. They're opportunities to practice choosing your long-term identity over your short-term impulses. Every time you face one of these tests and choose to honor your standards anyway, you prove to yourself that you're becoming the person you've decided to be. The magic happens when your standards become so deeply ingrained that they operate automatically. You don't have to think about whether you'll keep your commitments, because keeping commitments is simply who you are. You don't have to debate whether you'll maintain your habits, because those habits have become expressions of your identity. You don't have to negotiate with yourself about doing the right thing, because doing the right thing has become your natural response to life. This is the fortress of standards at full strength. It's not a prison that confines you, but a castle that elevates you. It's not a burden that weighs you down, but a foundation that lifts you up. From this fortress, you can see opportunities that others miss, navigate challenges that others avoid, and create results that others only dream about. Your standards are calling to you right now, asking you to choose. They're asking whether you'll honor the person you've committed to becoming or negotiate with the person you've been. They're asking whether you'll treat your potential as sacred or as optional. They're asking whether you'll build a fortress of excellence or settle for the shifting sands of convenience. The answer you give in this moment, in the next choice you make, in the way you handle the rest of this day determines not just what you'll accomplish, but who you'll become. Choose to build your fortress. Choose to protect what matters. Choose to let your standards lead you home to the winner you were born to be. 12. Repeat the habit until you become it. There comes a moment when the thing you've been doing becomes the thing you are, when the practice dissolves into your very essence, and what once required effort now flows as naturally as breathing. Most people live their entire lives on the surface of transformation. They taste change, they sample new behaviors, they dabble in better habits, but they never stay long enough to cross the invisible threshold where repetition becomes identity. They stop just short of the place where magic happens, where the external discipline becomes internal nature, where the habit stops being something you do and starts being something you are. The winners, the ones who seem to operate from a different realm entirely, understand a truth that escapes the masses. They know that repetition is not just practice. Repetition is creation. Every time you repeat an action, you are not just reinforcing a behavior, you are sculpting your identity. You are writing the code of who you become. You are casting a vote for the version of yourself that exists in the unseeing future. Think about the person you were 5 years ago. The habits you practiced daily, the thoughts you entertained regularly, the standards you held consistently. Now look at who you are today. The connection is undeniable. Your past repetitions created your present reality. Your present repetitions are creating your future self. This is not philosophy. This is the fundamental law of human transformation. But here's where most people stumble. They understand the concept intellectually, but they underestimate the power of small, consistent repetitions. They look for dramatic gestures, for grand moments of change, for the big breakthrough that will transform everything at once. They miss the quiet truth that identity is forged in the countless small moments when no one is watching, when the cameras are off, when there's no applause or recognition. The habit that separates winners from everyone else is not flashy, it's not complicated, it's not reserved for the exceptionally talented or the naturally gifted. It's the habit of showing up consistently, day after day, choice after choice, until the repetition rewrites the very core of who you are. Winners understand that there's a sacred mathematics to transformation. 1 repetition is an event. 10 repetitions begin to form a pattern. 100 repetitions create familiarity. 1,000 repetitions forge competence. But somewhere beyond 10,000 repetitions, something magical occurs. The boundary between you and the habit dissolves. You don't have to remember to be disciplined, because discipline has become your nature. You don't have to force yourself to focus, because focus flows from your very being. This is why winners seem effortless in their excellence. It's not that success comes easily to them. It's that they've repeated the fundamental habits so many times that excellence has become their default setting. What looks like natural talent is actually the fruit of countless unseen repetitions. What appears to be overnight success is actually the result of years spent in faithful practice, repeating the same core habits until those habits became inseparable from their identity. The process demands patience in a world that worships speed. It requires faith in small actions when everything around you screams for dramatic results. It calls for a deep trust in the compound power of consistency when immediate gratification beckons from every direction. But this is exactly why it works. This is exactly why it creates such a profound separation between winners and everyone else. Most people give up right before the transformation takes hold. They practice for weeks or months, they see some progress, but they abandon the repetition before it reaches critical mass. They stop watering the seed just before it's ready to break through the soil. They quit the gym right before their body begins to transform. They abandon the new habit right before it becomes automatic. They walk away from the practice right before the practice becomes their identity. Winners stay. They stay through the boring middle. They stay when progress feels slow. They stay when motivation fades and inspiration feels distant. They stay because they understand that repetition is not just about improving performance. Repetition is about transformation at the deepest level. It's about becoming someone new, someone stronger, someone aligned with the success they seek. Every single day, you have the opportunity to cast a vote for who you're becoming. Every time you choose the disciplined action over the easy option, you're voting for the winner inside you. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you're voting for reliability. Every time you maintain your standards when it would be convenient to lower them, you're voting for excellence. Every time you focus on what matters most instead of getting distracted by what's urgent, you're voting for effectiveness. These votes accumulate, they compound, they create momentum that becomes unstoppable. And somewhere in the process, something profound happens. You stop trying to be disciplined and you become disciplined. You stop working to maintain focus and you become focused. You stop striving for excellence and you become excellent. The external effort transforms into internal nature. This is your moment. This is your opportunity to commit not just to a new behavior, but to a new identity. To repeat the habit not just until you see results, but until you become the type of person for whom those results are inevitable. To show up not just when you feel motivated, but especially when you don't, because that's when the real transformation happens. The winner inside you is not waiting for permission. It's not waiting for perfect conditions. It's not waiting for more time or better circumstances. It's waiting for you to begin the process of repetition that will call it forth from the depths of your potential. It's waiting for you to commit to the daily practice that will forge your new identity, one choice at a time, one day at a time, one repetition at a time. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when everything aligns perfectly. Today. Choose the one habit that matters most. Choose the one practice that will create the greatest transformation. And then repeat it, with the faith of someone who knows that every repetition is reshaping not just what you do, but who you are. Repeat it until you become it, because when you do, success won't be something you achieve, it will be something you are. And that changes everything.